YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here back on the Tulafurdum map, or however you say it. This is a Total War Rome 2 versus 2 battle. I'm once again sporting Carthage, trying to go back to my old alma mater here. And my teammate is playing as Sparta, and we are facing off against the forces of Macedon and Epirus. Epirus. Let's take a look at our opponent's forces before they ever get hidden. We got mercenary Rhodian slingers, archers. He's backing them up with, let's see, foot companions, thorax pikemen, 2 hoplites, and a companion cav. I believe he has some cavalry hidden right here. As far as his teammate, there's 3 slingers up front, just regular ones. Let's see, Hellenic Royal Guard, or 2 Hellenic Royal Guard, 2 pikemen. Looks like 3 mercenary Italian cav, which is a lighter version of kind of like the companion cav. And then he's got a Hellenic Royal Cav for his gen, and he's got a Peltist, 2 Peltist, and an Agrionian Axeman. So, let's see, my army is a little bit split up. I've got 2 Companion Cav hidden in these woods over here. So that's my heavy Cav component. I've got, I want to say I have 4 Mercenary Italian Swordsmen, which is kind of a light swordsman, good for flanking. I've got 2 more Companion Cav here. I've got 2 Carthaginian Cav surrounding my general's bodyguard. And let's see, that's my teammates. I've got 4 late Libyan hoplites up front with 2 upgrades, similar to what I had in another battle. My teammate playing a Sparta, let's see, he's got, looks like 4 citizen cav all together. His general is a hero of Sparta. He's got a Perioikoi hoplites, Spartan pikemen, Perioikoi spears, Spartan hoplites, Spartan pikemen. So it looks like he's got a couple of pikemen, a couple of Perioikoi hoplites, and then about 4 Spartan hoplites. And Spartan hoplites are a pretty strong hoplite. They don't have the best weapon damage, but they do have really good melee attack, and they have excellent morale and armor. So they are a tough unit. They were buffed recently. And I thought Athens had access to the Mercenary Companion Cav too in recent patches. I'm going to fast forward for a minute because we just kind of all jockey around for position. Though I will show you this. I had these Companion Cav very well hidden, and I saw his skirmishers way out front, and I was like, oh man, I can come in here and kill all the skirmishers. But I don't even know why I did this. I'm not even worried about his skirmishers. They're no threat to me really with the particular army I brought, and so I betrayed the location of my cavalry, which ended up being bad because I could have totally been in the back of his army, I think, with these 2 Companion Cav. My opponent noticed him right away, which is a good job, and he's going to make sure that they don't do any damage, pulls his skirmishers back. I'm going to go back into fast forward for a minute. Doesn't fast forward quite as well when you're in these larger battles because the number of units will slow down the fast forward, but that's okay. So my teammate and I want to face off in open ground. I don't think that our opponents really have any interest in being in the woods other than it protects their pikemen from our peltist somewhat, because both of us are, well, I'm sporting a lot of peltist, which I didn't call out, by the way. I've got 5 Libyan javelin men, 6 of them, no, 5 Libyan javelin men, which have good javelin attack. They're just weak otherwise, but they're cheap. And basically Libyan javelin men, when I play as Carthage, are my pike busters. Pretty much, when I like to bust a pike line as Carthage, I'll bring these late Libyan hoplites because they can absorb a lot of missile fire from almost any type of unit because they have 70 armor and really good shields too. I don't remember exactly how good, but late Libyan hoplites, let's see, armor. Yeah, they have a 35 shield value. That's really good. They can double to help against cavalry or an outflanking, and they can basically absorb the missile fire for your Libyan javelin men to get them close. And then you just keep your Libyan javelin men behind them to bust a pike line, because the pike lines really can't be aggressive. They can't move forward and attack you. So that's something to be aware of. My Spartan teammate is moving in 2 forces, so he's keeping 1 force here and another here, and he's going to try and attempt to split the Epirote player. I'm keeping all my forces in 1 line, except for my cav. I'm kind of keeping them out here. I really want the Macedonian player to challenge me in a cavalry fight, because here's the thing, there's not a lot of cavalry out there that you want to use to challenge these guys head to head. There's just not. These guys are very capable cavalry, and it's not likely you're going to beat them down in a head-on fight unless you have some support, do some outflanking, or your enemy mismicros them. So that's one advantage Carthage has nowadays, is that their cavalry really is excellent because of these guys. So post the update, Carthage has actually become a fairly dangerous cavalry faction. They still have access to elephants too, but to be quite honest, elephants are much more of a liability nowadays than they were in the past, which is good. They're still extremely powerful, and they can still wreck armies if used properly. It's just relatively easy to stop them, and because they cost so much more, elephants are a lot better in check as far as their price not being too low for the benefit that they can provide. So when I say that they're a big liability, I just mean that you have to be very careful in the way you use them, because you can flush down a lot of money on elephants really fast, like 1,600 talents or more sometimes on elephants. So I'm going to go ahead and keep fast forwarding. My Macedonian opponent is lining up with me, but I think I see what's a weakness. Right here, there's not a real good defense in between the two armies, and his cav is all on this flank, so he's going to try and come after my cav, which I'll show you what happens later on. But I think, you know what, I can put a couple of my swordsmen through here, along with the Carthaginian cav, put some pressure on the Epirus player, because he's gone quality heavy. He's got Hellenic Royal Guard and pikemen, and he's got some other units. His slingers are going to do nothing to my late Labian hoplites. It's going to be fruitless. And again, over here I've got my Carthaginian cav just trying to get the Macedonian out of formation. And again, his cav's threatening me on this flank, but his citizen cav is no threat. Aspis is tough, just as tough as my Campanian cav, really. Let's see, 33, 30, 80, looking at the armor and stuff. Aspis cav is still a little better. Yeah, because they have better melee defense, a little more armor, a little more health, and same morale. Aspis cav is technically better, but there's only one of them. So let's see. The Epirus player is moving forward. Looks like there's some missile exchange. He's got some mercenary Rhodian slingers and Cretan archers on in either group. And here I put my javelin plan into action. Just get my javelins close enough to his pikes, and I'm going to start hurling javelins. And if he runs away with his pike line, it's going to leave his missiles unsupported. If he pushes forward, he can't catch me, and he's just going to be pushing forward into missile fire. So I'm just going to keep letting him have it. And then on this flank, I go ahead and go into the woods here, which is a bit risky because I couldn't see everything the Epirus player had. But I'm going to charge in on his mercenary Italian cav and bring my swords into his flank too. I'm hoping to get my sword into the flank of this Hellenic Royal Guard. Check that out. Got 5 kills with my javelins, but he turns to face my swordsman, which is good. And although my cavalry meets some initial success over here, they get charged in the back by a companion cav that my Macedonian opponent brought from the other flank. And then now that these Royal Guard are in position, I've got to pull my swordsmen back, because they will absolutely chop me down. Yeah, you can see he's got his Hellenic Royal Guard ready to face me. But all this is at least causing distraction and allowing the Spartan player to continue to skirmish. And on my flank, his pikes have taken some pretty serious damage. And his cavalry charged me, and I wasn't paying attention at all. I mean, at all. And then it was like a few seconds later I realized like what was going on. Which, lucky for me, my mercenary companion cav are ridiculously strong, and his guys didn't get the best charge off. So it allows my men to go ahead and re-enter the fight, get things underway, and then I'm going to actually bring some infantry to support as well. My opponent's got a citizen cav lined up here on the flank in diamond formation for a flank charge, which is a good idea. This is definitely a good idea. The problem is after his charge is over, his Aspis cav is the only one that can go toe-to-toe with my men. His companion cav will have done good on the charge, but now it's just going to start getting romped. And he brings a citizen cav in here for a side charge. Let's see if he gets any kills. It didn't. He got 0 kills in the charge. Citizen cav is just too light to affect a heavy cavalry fight like this. It's really more meant for use against lighter targets, lighter infantry and lighter cavalry. So here his companion cav, I'm going to force it out of the fight, which should free up this fight to go a little more in my favor. Some of my companion cav are starting to lose their morale. But now that my infantry's here to support, this fight should swing back in my favor. My opponent really can't support it the same way because he has pikes and they just can't be used the same way. My swordsmen here ended up getting quite a few kills. They get killed by his Illyrian levies, but they caused some damage to some of his Hellenic Royal Guard, which I felt like was worth it. Then right here, his Hellenic Royal Guard were about to go into combat with these Spartan pikemen, and so I slammed them from behind with a Carthaginian cav, which was a pretty timely charge. surprisingly didn't kill as many as I hoped, but it did start to rack up some kills, so that was worthwhile. Just trying to support my teammate. And over here now this cav fight is starting to swing into my favor. His lighter citizen cav is starting to give way. His Aspis cav still doing fine, but his companion cav is also getting shredded. It tore up one of my mercenary Italian swordsmen because these guys can't go into shield screen. But I mean it's a pretty expensive unit to be getting killed by an Italian swordsman. There goes his citizen cav, and now his Aspis cav is outnumbered, and this is going to slowly turn in my favor. My opponent is just firing away at my late Libyan hoplites with all of his missiles, not doing anything though. He's got a whole bunch of standard archers, or let's see, slingers, never mind, slingers. His slingers are not going to be real effective against the front of my hoplites, so I'm just going to let him use his ammo. All the while just trying to support my teammate's attack, which is going successfully. The Epirot player counted on quality, and the Spartan player has more numbers, and his troops are pretty good quality too. It's going to be hard for him to protect against the attack. See how these Spartans just split right through his pikemen, and he can just keep the attack going. These mercenary Italian cav, I mean, they can attack some hoplites or other spear units that are around. They're going to have a hard time getting into position, and slowly but surely the Spartan player is ripping through the Epirot player. The Epirot player just he has these Peltist and Agrionian axemen that are getting a lot of kills. They really are. And he even brings an Agrionian, or his Agrionians actually already fired all their ammo, and they came over here to attack my late Libyan hoplites. These guys will actually probably get a surprising number of kills in this melee. Went ahead and brought my general over to try and knock them out a little quicker. Yeah, again you can see the Macedonian player. I decided to go ahead and move up my my skirmishers on him since my cavalry has won the cav fight even with my negligence. And he decides to charge forward. This is a good idea, because he's just going to eat it if he doesn't try and engage me. It'll make it a little more difficult for me, but I can still get the job done. Again, here you can see the Spartan player is pretty much wrapped up. The Epirot player, all he has left is skirmishers, and there's not going to be enough of them to take out all the remaining hoplites that he has left. Hoplites are a good unit. They can absorb a lot of missile fire, and if your opponent doesn't have the appropriate infantry to deal with them after that missile fire is done, then that's it. I mean, look at these late Libyan hoplites. They've been sitting here getting hammered by all of his expensive skirmishers, or some of his skirmishers are expensive, some aren't. But they've absorbed it all for fairly low cost, which means that my javelin men live to late game, and now that they're in late game, they can work their magic, which is destroying pikes. So, a lot of you ask, like, how do you beat pike boxes? Pike boxes are still annoying. Javelins are the key to destroying a pike box. Either that or a high-quality slinger unit. A lot of people like to bring cheap pikes, and then they can bring high-quality skirmishers. At that point, what I would suggest is that you bring a large amount of cavalry, minimal cheap infantry, and a crapload of javelin men. Use the infantry to screen for the javelin men, get close, focus your javelins on his pikes, use your cavalry to keep his attention in the rear, and potentially get rear charges, and you should be able to destroy the enemy pikes with your javelins, at which point you'll be free to use your infantry to finish off his cavalry and skirmishers. So that's kind of the way I like to take it. And over here, I can now start to wrap up the Macedonian. He still has a lot of pikes. You have to be careful about getting onto their flank and not letting them take me head on, especially his foot companion. This is going to be a hard unit to kill even if I can outflank it, because these guys are pretty strong. All I have is weak units around here, so I charge my Libyan javelin men who are out of ammo just to get these guys fixed. And then I charge them from the other flank with a late Libyan hoplite, but even with this going on, the foot companions just have a better attack than my men, even if they weren't in pike formation. I do a quick side charge with my general, which does pretty much nothing, so I'm going to have to get out. Over here, I'm just engaging these hoplites with my mercenary Italian swordsman. Going to outflank them here. And then I've got a late Libyan hoplite coming in too, as well as a cav charge. Mercenary companion cav. So those hoplites are gonna bite the dust there. Look at this foot companion. Still has 94 men. It's getting some pretty good kills. Some Periokoi hoplites just got into the flank of it. And then there's some Spartan pikemen coming up on the flank too. Now over here, the remaining forces, or the Epirot general, which is a Hellenic royal cav, decides to come over and join this fight, which is bad for my men. They're pretty weakened, and that's going to be a hard target for them to take out. And over here, this mercenary Campanian cav, I'm going to take it into his Aspis cav, which there are about the same numbers, but he's backed up by a couple more mercenary Italian cav, but they get beat up badly on the charge. My men lost quite a few in the charge as well, and then he's got some mercenary Rhodian slingers he's throwing into melee there. But I think it's the morale game here. Like, his guys are ahead of me numbers-wise, but the morale is starting to turn against the enemy troops because of their number of forces on the field that are being killed. Here I've got another mercenary companion cav coming in to support. So that will help start to turn the numbers a little bit back in my favor. And let's see, he just got this one hoplite unit left that I'm going to hit from behind with the mercenary Italian swords again. The Italian swords are superior to the hoplites, but they don't have formation attack, so that's why I ran this cavalry rear charge here. Because with my general, doing what I can to kind of weaken the hoplites up, and sure enough they break. Otherwise that fight would take a long time. And then I'm going to take my general into these skirmishers. Always good to use that general's bodyguard for something, especially if you can do it without getting your general killed. So it ended up being a success for my teammate and I didn't get a whole... I guess I ended up getting the most kills, which surprised me. I thought my teammate would have done better than me. He did well, yeah, he did well. This is his army's kills here. Let's take a look. His skirmishers did pretty well. And let's see what the rest of his troops did. Citizen Cav, this one did quite a few kills for a Citizen Cav. See, Spartan hoplites all did fairly well. This one only got 6 kills, but it didn't have anything killed in it. So really, overall, he did well keeping a lot of his troops alive. If we look at the Epirot player, let's see where he did. These Agrionian axemen paid for themselves. That's an impressive number of kills. His slingers did not. His Hellenic Royal Guard did not. His pikes did not. And one of his Aspis Cav did fairly well. Hellenic Royal Cav, not so much. So yeah. Let's see, as far as my units and the Macedonian player, my general did really well. 44 kills for a general is great. One Carthaginian cav did okay. These 2 mercenary companion cav did okay. These 2 did better. Javelins did very well for the most part. This late Libyan hoplite right here pulled its weight. And then these 2 swordsmen, 3 swordsmen did alright, and this one obviously got beat up. These are very cheap units, so just to get a few kills is pretty helpful. So the Macedonian, his companion cav did very well. Both of them, I wouldn't say very well, but this one did well. His Aspis cav did poorly. Citizen cav did poorly. This foot companion beasted up a bunch of kills. The problem was a lot of them were against my skirmishers. They hit them in the flank, so even though I got a lot of kills, maybe not the best kills, this pikeman got nothing. This pikeman got nothing. 10 for this. It just kind of shows you his mercenary Rhodian slingers did get a lot of kills, but most of them were on my late Libyan hoplites. So I think about a 600 talent unit of slingers would actually have to kill completely 2 of my late Libyan hoplites to pay for itself, which it did not quite do. His archers not having a huge effect, nor his slingers. Anyway, good game to our opponents. Thanks to my teammate for playing a fun one. Hope you all enjoyed this 2v2. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.